All right, so what is happening for my blind and visually impaired subscribers is that for those that are not blind and visually impaired, I coordinated and I'm currently wearing my Mandalorian shirt. So I wanted to try really hard to God, I hope my face is still on this thing. That's what I never know when I try to drag it up my shirt, is I don't know where it ends up because I can't get it situated in advance. And I wanted to show my Mandalorian shirt because I'm starting to review Star Wars movies in advance of Obi Wan. Wanted to use an excuse to get some Star Wars reviews on my channel, and Obi Wan felt like the best reason/excuse to do that. So I'm starting at the beginning, not in order of release, but in what they're supposed to be episodically, which means I started with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I'm Mac from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and this is my review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Actually, this is going to be labeled a second look, which is always what I do for my reviews when I'm admitting that this is not the first time I've seen the film. This is fourth time I've seen the film. I think I actually reviewed these on my website when I could see back when like The Force Awakens was coming out. I think I went back through and did all the Star Wars films then. But I didn't check my grade because I wanted to see what the experience would be like for me now that I'm blind. What are Star Wars films like now? How's the audio description? What was that experience like? And let me tell you, it was actually pretty good. I like the audio describer for this, but I'll get into that. I actually shouldn't even have to describe the plot to this. This is normally where I'm like, this is what this movie's about. It's Star Wars. It's a Phantom Menace. I don't know. It's about, a team of serial killers that have a bank robbery, and they on Christmas Day, and a predator comes in from Mars, and then Benedict Cumberbatch plays I don't know, a Dragon King, and Pauly Shore plays the animated version of the Velveteen Rabbit, and that's Star Wars. Congratulations, now you know what happens in the film. And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, this film opened in 1999, and the hype was real. I mean, I remember the hype. I remember it being insane. I remember this was like the first time that you really saw people, like an insane amount of people waiting outside for anything. Like camping outside theaters, sleeping outdoors overnight. That hadn't happened in like forever. And it was happening for Phantom Menace, like all over. Advanced ticket sales were off the charts. This movie was supposed to be like making tons of money. And then everybody saw Jar Jar Binks and Jake Lloyd, and jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and the American population, we lost, I don't know, about 90 million people or something. I don't know what happened, but that's what the internet will lead you to believe, is that we lost a lot of Star Wars fans that day. They just Misa couldn't deal with it. So now it's still here, and it's on Disney Plus, and it has audio description. So if you want to be a completionist and you want to start from the beginning, and you want to see where Ewan McGregor's Obi Wan started, well, I hate to tell you, started here. Truth be told, this movie is not terrible. And truth be told, like from my perspective, I actually, I mean, I get all of the hate behind the adorableness of Jake Lloyd playing Anakin, but Hayden Christensen was terrible. Like, we didn't get anything better. So for those of you who are like, ooh, the Phantom Menace was terrible, but we moved into better once we got rid of Jake Lloyd. It's like, no, 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 we didn't. Hayden Christensen was a terrible actor in this franchise. I remember it. I've seen. I thought Attack of the Clones was awful because of his acting. It was like, he screen tested for this? Like they heard him read dialogue and they were like, yes, done, casted. Because they have a great cast in this film around. There's some dude who talks to Natalie Portman in this film, by the way, which I've never caught before, but when you can't see the performance anymore, there was some guy who totally felt like he'd never read dialogue before and has like a brief, I want to say like 3-sentence like interaction with Amidala, and then he just goes away, but he felt like somebody just handed him the script right before, and he's like, wait a minute, I have lines? Okay. Yeah, so the forces are, they're here, and we have to, I was like, well, who is this guy? But other than that, I mean, you've got Liam Neeson, you've got Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Ian McDiarmid, Ray Park. I mean, there's some talent here. There's even some people in really tiny roles before they ever became famous. That like Keira Knightley, I think, is in this. Yeah, so it's not really. It's a good casting, and Jake Lloyd is exactly what Anakin is supposed to be, which is that like childlike adorableness. Like, you're not supposed to believe that this kid could one day become Darth Vader. That's what's so shocking about it, is that he's so one way. He's so the complete opposite of Darth Vader that it actually kind of works. I've actually come to appreciate Jake Lloyd's performance. I still think Jar Jar is a terrible addition to the series, and I don't understand Jar Jar. Like, I don't get it. I'm just kind of like, okay. All right, that was a choice. But I have come to actually appreciate and understand why they cast Jake Lloyd, because you wanted somebody who wasn't so damn serious. Some of these child actors are so good at being child actors that they would come across as somebody who, could be Darth Vader. But if you pick some like adorable kid with no range, who's like only job in life is to be cute and fluffy, then they seem like the complete opposite of Darth Vader. And then you get to watch that growth. What should have happened is that the next actor should not have been Hayden Christensen. It should have been somebody else with more depth, who could have shown you more range from the second into the third film, so that way he could have played one side of Anakin in the second film and then another side in the third film. But Jake Lloyd did just fine. He did exactly what he was supposed to do in this film. Aside from that, Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson are great, as always. I mean, just fantastic. I loved both of them. And Natalie Portman, obviously she's been better in other films, so there's not much I can say about that because since The Phantom Menace, she's only grown as an actress. This is really early in her career. Even before this, she had Leon the Professional, so this isn't even the best moment of her young career. Yeah, Neeson and McGregor did good work here. It's an entertaining film, and that pod racing scene is actually kind of fun and interesting. And even as a blind person, I thought it was really well described, and I had a lot of fun with it. I thought the lightsaber fights were really well described. Especially the ones with Darth Maul. I thought that was really well done. I remember what the things look like. They did a great job of describing Darth Maul as best as they could. I think he's kind of gnarly looking, and they did try to point out all of the stuff about him that you can get from Darth Maul. Um, and his lightsaber was perfectly described, and the way that he holds it is perfectly described. So, kudos to that. Um, I think where some of the description was lacking, honestly, was just around Jar Jar. Um, I think in the first time we meet him, he was described as being amphibious, and I don't know that that really does him justice, because I think when people think of amphibious, they think of frog-like, and Jar Jar is this like skinny, gigantic, goofy looking thing. He doesn't look frog-like at all. Like there's nothing that necessarily looks amphibious about him. It's such a weird word to use to describe him. And he's so interesting, and he's in such a huge chunk of the first film that it kind of feels like you should know more about what he looks like. And then because his people are in the film, if we had gotten a better description of him, we would know more of what his people will look like. I'm really interested to know, like, when they get to Chewbacca, like, what's that description going to be like? Because I want to know. I thought Yoda's was fine. I think people sometimes just assume that we know who these people are, but if you've been blind since birth and this is like your first time watching these films, you don't necessarily know who these characters are or what they look like. And this might be the first description that you're getting of these characters, even though they seem like no-brainers to a Star Wars fan. Kids are being born all the time, and some of them are being born blind, and then they grow up and they get a Disney Plus subscription and they decide to get into Star Wars, and then they start watching the Star Wars films, and lo and behold, they don't know what a Yoda looks like. So, and a Jar Jar Binks and some of those non-human characters. So, always lean in. You can never under-describe something that isn't real. I think I've said this in most of my reviews. You can never over-describe something that isn't real, that has no basis in reality, that looks nothing like, that you can't directly compare. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's a film where there's like a gigantic turtle walking around and you're able to just say that's a large turtle, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you just go, it's a turtle, it's standing up, and it looks like a ninja. Easy concept. You know what I'm saying? You could talk about who's got each color bandana, and what weapon they're using. But you don't need... The turtles exist in our world. So you don't need to go all out in describing the concept of what a ninja turtle, like a humanoid turtle, would look like. But for something like Yoda, there really is no basis for Yoda in our world. You can't be like, oh, he's like a thing, like a koala. Because he's not really like a koala, is he? I mean, he's short like a koala. I guess he's got big ears, but his ears aren't the same shape as a koala. And he's not furry. So, he doesn't really have the paws like a koala. So what do you compare him to, It's the same thing with Jar Jar. I mean, amphibious is not the word I would have used to describe Jar Jar. If I had a blind friend and I was sitting down next to them and they were like, oh, okay, can you tell me, about the Phantom Menace back in 1999, where I'm sure this film ran without audio description in theaters. But if I'd gone with my friends, I don't think I would have been like, oh, he's amphibious. I would have been like, he's got these weird eyes that are like buggy and like flopping around. He's got these ears that droop off to the side. He's got like a giant snout. He looks ridiculous. He's tall. He's thin. He's humanoid, but he looks nothing like a human. He's just humanoid in that he has the legs and the arms, like he moves sort of like a human, and he can like hold a gun and stuff. But I definitely wouldn't have used the word amphibious. He's not even green. Like he's not, like there's nothing about Jar Jar to use the word amphibious. So just because he can swim in water does not does not mean that he looks amphibious. There's a difference between your character. Aquaman can swim in water. I'm not going to call Aquaman amphibious because he does not look amphibious. So I think you get my point. I'm probably just beating a dead horse here, but we'll see how the rest of the franchise goes. This is just the first one that I've watched ever with audio description, so I'm gonna move my way through all these, and we'll see how. I want to see how this description keeps building. You know, how are they doing these characters? Because they only become more prominent. We only continue to get more of them. So how do they keep popping up? I can't wait to see what they do with an Ewok. You know, yeah, I'm actually really excited for. And then some of the other things like the the other kinds of robots and stuff that they have throughout the franchise. So I'm excited. It's going to be great. So this is, like I said, my first one heading into Obi Wan. I think my grade for this has fluctuated over the years. Like I said, I don't go back and look. I'm just giving a grade. And this is where my head's at right now as a blind person watching The Phantom Menace. I feel like I'm gaining more and more of an appreciation for this film the more that I watch it. I think the first time I watched it, I was like everybody else back in 1999. I was like, what is this? And why were we this excited for it? Because like we got Darth Maul, which was amazing. And everybody was just like head over heels for Darth Maul in 1999. You know, I mean, he was dope. He's easily the best thing, best like introduction of a new character into this film. But other than that, I think as we get older and we get further away from from the film's actual release date, then we see some growth, and we start seeing the film in a different way. So I just don't hate Jake Lloyd anymore. I feel like at one point I did, and I was like, oh, he's annoying. But now I look at his performance, I'm like, actually, it just kind of makes it better, because there's nothing about him that's evil, but yet like Yoda is like, I sense something, and you're like, well, you sense what? Like, what? This kid looks like he needs to be like with a puppy right now. Like, what do you sense about him? So anyway, I think he's a little underrated, but I feel like I'm gonna get some hate for that. But my grade for Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, on what I think is my fourth viewing, it's at least my fourth viewing. Like, I could think of at least 3 times I've seen this film otherwise. So I'm putting fourth, could be fifth viewing of this film. I'm going to give it a B-. This is not my favorite Star Wars film, but I had a good time. And the pod race scene was actually well described enough that I had a real good time. I thought that was really fun. So, kudos. I like the guy's voice. Hopefully he continues to do the rest of at least the prequel series. I don't know how they broke them up. But I would assume he's doing at least the first 3 chapters, 1, 2, and 3. That's it. I remember when this film came out, and George Lucas had that insane requirement where every theater had to agree to run it for 12 weeks, like in their biggest houses, and it was like a contractual obligation. And the box office was dropping fast, and everyone was like, why is this still in our biggest house? Because like by week 5 or 6, we had already had other films, and there were other films that were hits at the time too, like Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and theater companies were still like, this has to be in our biggest house. Nobody's watching this film anymore. Like, word of mouth on this was not good. It still made a ton of money. It still made over 300 million, but yeah, it just ended up, the hype was real, but the actually what you got was not. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'm excited for Obi Wan. I can't wait. It's gonna be great. I can feel it. I can feel it's gonna be better than Boba Fett. I'm putting positivity out there into the world. They will not need to add the Mandalorian to the show to make it interesting. And that's it. That's my review. Go to MacTheMovieGuy.com for more, and the audio description project to find out more audio description movies with audio description. And go to Disney Plus to watch all Star Wars films. Everyone, all of them, except that Star Wars special, which now only exists as a Lego version of the Star Wars Christmas special that apparently we don't get to watch, but it's out there on the interwebs if you know where to find it. But without audio description, which sucks. That's it from me until Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, which I have to tell you is also my least favorite Star Wars movie. Heads up on that. May the